She posted, "Why do men think they control their girlfriend's outfit?" After I asked her to dress properly for my company event, I said nothing. Instead, I showed up at her work function wearing exactly what she planned. Her boss's reaction changed everything instantly. I still remember the moment I saw it on my phone. Her post was sitting there on my feed, a bold little caption with her smirking selfie, mocking me for something I thought was a simple, respectful request. My chest tightened as I read the words again and again, unable to believe that the woman I trusted had just taken our private conversation and made it a public spectacle. She didn't just roll her eyes at me in private this time, she broadcasted my concern for the world to laugh at. And laugh they did. Comments rolled in beneath her post, people cheering her on, telling her how strong and independent she was for standing up to a controlling man. Strangers, people who didn't even know me, were now part of a story I never agreed to tell. Every like, every laugh, every supportive comment felt like a knife twisting in my chest. The betrayal wasn't just her words. It was her delight in turning me into a villain so she could play the role of the brave girlfriend fighting against oppression. All I had asked was that she dress appropriately for my company event. It was an important night for me, a room full of my colleagues, my boss, and people whose respect I needed to earn. It wasn't about jealousy or insecurity. It was about professionalism, about wanting us to present ourselves well as a couple. But instead of understanding, she painted me as a dictator trying to police her wardrobe. She chose to mock me, and she chose to do it publicly. I sat there staring at my phone, my fingers itching to type back something, anything. I wanted to defend myself, to tell my side of the story, to remind her and everyone else that respect isn't control. But I stopped myself, because the moment I responded, the moment I let her drag me into the mud online, I'd lose. She would twist it, spin it, screenshot it, and use it as more ammunition. So, I said nothing. On the outside, I was calm, but inside, my mind was moving quickly. Her arrogance, her smug smile in that post, the chorus of people cheering her on, it all lit a fire in me. Not of rage, but of resolve. She thought she had humiliated me beyond repair, that I'd sulk in silence while she collected likes and laughs. But what she didn't realize was that silence can be louder than words. I let her think she had won. I let her laugh with her friends. Let her strut around the apartment telling them how I hadn't even responded. I let her believe I was beaten down. And all the while I was planning. Her big work event was coming up soon, the one she had been bragging about for weeks, the one she said could open doors for her career. She had already laid out the outfit she planned to wear, the same one that sparked our fight. She thought she would walk into that ballroom with all eyes on her, but I was going to make sure those eyes saw the truth. Not with shouting, not with arguments, not with online posts, but with silence and one unforgettable move. She wanted to embarrass me in front of strangers. I was about to show her what real embarrassment looked like, right in front of the people who mattered most to her. The post wasn't born out of nowhere. It was the latest chapter in a book I had been reading for far too long. I could see the history of it all stretching back through our relationship. The countless times she dismissed me, twisted my words, and made me feel small. Whenever I tried to speak up about something that bothered me, she would tilt her head, smile, and say, "You're overreacting." If I set a boundary, she would laugh and call me controlling. If I expressed a need, she'd roll her eyes and say, "Not everything has to be about you." I carried those moments in silence, convincing myself that love meant patience, that she just needed time to mature, to see what I was offering. But the truth is, she never once wanted to see me. She wanted an audience, not a partner. I remember one night we were with her friends, and they were laughing at my expense. She leaned in and told them a story about how I got fussy when she wore something revealing to dinner. She mimicked my voice, made me sound pathetic, and when her friends burst into laughter, she joined in without hesitation. I sat there, smiling weakly, my heart burning. Later, when I told her it hurt, she brushed it off with, "It was just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." That was the line she always used. Don't be sensitive, don't be insecure, don't be controlling. Slowly, it made me doubt myself. I would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was really the problem. Was I too strict? Was I old-fashioned? Was I demanding too much? I started silencing myself before she even had the chance to, choosing not to speak up because I already knew the words she would throw back at me. Meanwhile, I gave everything I had to support her life. I worked late hours, picked up bills when she couldn't, stayed up nights helping her polish presentations, proofread her work, and even drove her to events when she was too tired to focus. I made sacrifices without keeping count, believing that love meant giving without expecting anything in return. But deep down, I did expect one thing: respect. And it was the one thing she never gave. Behind my back, she ridiculed me. In front of others, she belittled me. In private, she gaslighted me into silence. Every time I tried to talk, she twisted the narrative until I was apologizing for even bringing it up. I wasn't her partner. I was her punchline. That's why the post cut so deep. It wasn't just a one-time insult. It was years of the same pattern, put on display for strangers to laugh at. It was the final straw, the undeniable proof that no matter how much I gave, she would always take my dignity and turn it into a joke. That night, staring at her words on my screen, the clarity finally hit me. I wasn't controlling. I wasn't insecure. I wasn't wrong for wanting respect. She never respected me, and she never intended to. That was the painful truth. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. The night of her work event arrived, and she was glowing with confidence. I watched her get ready, her voice humming with excitement as she rehearsed what she'd say to her boss, how she'd impress the executives, how she'd stand out in the crowd. The outfit she had picked was laid neatly across the bed, the very same one that started all of this. She didn't notice my quiet glances, didn't sense the storm I carried under my calm exterior. She thought I was still sulking, still licking the wounds from her post. She had no idea that I had already decided exactly how this night would end. I drove separately, letting her believe I'd meet her there later. My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than usual, my pulse steady but heavy. This wasn't about anger anymore, it was about truth. I wasn't going there to scream or make a scene. I was going there to show her and everyone else exactly what her arrogance looked like. When I walked into the venue, a hush seemed to ripple across the room. At first, it was just a few curious glances, but within seconds the stares multiplied. Whispers began to spread like wildfire, people elbowing each other, eyes darting in my direction. And there I was, not in a suit, not in neutral professional attire, but wearing the exact outfit she had planned for herself. Every detail was perfect. The bold dress, the jewelry, even the shoes. The whispers grew louder, the atmosphere shifting from polite conversation to stunned disbelief. You could almost feel the discomfort settle into the air, like everyone was holding their breath, unsure if what they were seeing was real. And then she saw me. She was standing by a cluster of colleagues, laughing. That familiar smirk plastered on her face. The same smirk she wore when she posted about me online. But the moment her eyes locked onto me, her smile cracked. Her laughter died in her throat. The color drained from her face, and for the first time in months, maybe years, she looked completely powerless. Her colleagues turned to her, their whispers turning into pointed stares. They didn't need an explanation. They already understood. They had seen her smugness before, had probably heard her spin stories about me. But now, standing there frozen, she couldn't twist the truth. Not this time. Not with me wearing the evidence on my body. Then came the moment that sealed it. Her boss, standing not far from her, spotted the commotion. His face shifted from confusion to discomfort to anger. He called her aside, his voice sharp and clipped, clearly demanding an explanation. I didn't need to hear their words to know what was happening. His expression said everything: disappointment, frustration, embarrassment. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I stood calmly, watching her carefully curated image unravel in real time. Everything she had worked for, every bit of respect she thought she commanded, crumbled in front of the very people she wanted to impress. And I didn't have to lift a finger. The beauty of it all was that my silence did the work for me. I didn't expose her with a long speech or heated accusations. I didn't humiliate her with insults. I just showed up, calmly, in the outfit she thought she could flaunt against my wishes. And in that moment, her own arrogance became the weapon that destroyed her. The fallout started the very same night. As soon as the event wrapped up, she marched toward me, her face burning with rage. Her heels clicked sharply against the floor, and when she reached me, she grabbed my arm so tightly it almost hurt. Her voice was low, but venomous. "What the hell was that? Do you have any idea how badly you humiliated me?" She looked around, panicked, desperate to see who was watching. But it didn't matter. Everyone had already seen what they needed to see. I didn't answer. I just looked at her, calm, steady, unbothered, and that silence drove her even crazier. She shook her head, muttering curses, and stormed out of the building with me following slowly behind. In the car, she erupted. "You ruined everything for me. My boss is furious. My colleagues are never going to look at me the same way. You made me a joke." Her words flew like daggers, but what she didn't realize was that she had done it all to herself. By the time we reached home, her phone was buzzing nonstop. Messages poured in from co-workers, some laced with awkward questions, others with thinly veiled amusement. Friends began texting too, demanding to know why people were whispering about her at the event. Even her family got involved, calling her and asking why rumors were spreading about an embarrassing scene. I watched her scramble, her fingers flying across her phone screen as she tried to control the damage. She laughed nervously on the calls, told half-truths, spun stories about how it was just some weird misunderstanding. But I could see it in her eyes. The panic was real. She turned on me again later that night, pacing the living room like a caged animal. "You think this makes you smart? You think this is funny? You destroyed my reputation." But I still didn't raise my voice. I just sat there, watching her unravel, until finally I said quietly, "No. You destroyed your reputation when you mocked me online. You gave me the option." The words stopped her cold. For once, she had nothing to throw back at me. No clever twist, no sarcastic laugh, no dismissive shrug. Just silence. And in that silence, the power shifted. It was almost surreal to watch her collapse under the weight of her own arrogance. She had always been the one in control, always the one with the last word, always the one to spin the story in her favor. But this time, there was nothing to spin. Her colleagues had seen her humiliation. Her boss had pulled her aside in anger. Her friends and family were questioning her, and she couldn't twist it into a joke or shift the blame to me. I stayed calm through it all, speaking less, letting her excuses spiral out of control. The quieter I became, the more desperate she sounded. For the first time in our relationship, she was the one scrambling for approval, and I was the one holding the silence like a weapon. And that's when she finally realized, silence can't be spun. Silence can't be mocked. Silence is final. And my silence had just dismantled her arrogance piece by piece. Her apologies came in waves, each one thinner than the last. At first, she tried to laugh it off, her voice trembling as she said, "Come on, it was just a joke. I didn't mean it like that. You're taking this way too seriously." She forced a smile, but her eyes betrayed her. They were wide, frantic, the eyes of someone watching control slip through their fingers. I stood there listening, not moving, not reacting, just letting her words hang heavy in the air. When I didn't respond, her tone shifted. The smirk fell away, replaced by tears that she thought might soften me. "I'm sorry, okay? I shouldn't have posted that. I wasn't thinking. I didn't mean to embarrass you." She said it quickly, desperately, like if she threw the words fast enough they might stick. But they didn't. Because I saw her clearly now. She wasn't sorry for mocking me. She wasn't sorry for making me the butt of her jokes, for ridiculing me to strangers, for humiliating me in front of her colleagues. She was only sorry she got caught. I could see it in the way she kept circling back to herself. My boss will never respect me again. My coworkers won't forget this. You ruined my reputation. Every word was about her, her image, her loss. Not once did she say she was sorry for the way she treated me, for the years of dismissing me, for the way she made me question myself. Her apology wasn't an apology at all. It was self-preservation. And that was the moment I knew it was over. Not with a bang, not with a screaming match, not with chaos. It was over with quiet, steady finality. I looked at her and said, "You didn't just cross a line with that post. You showed me who you really are. And now I'm done." My voice didn't shake. I didn't raise it. I didn't let my anger take over. I spoke with the calmness of someone who had already walked away in his heart. Her face crumpled. She begged then, dropping all pretense. She promised to change, swore she'd delete the post, said we could start over. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. For the first time, she understood that there was no coming back. The control she had always held over me was gone. I packed quietly over the next few days. No fights, no theatrics, just bags filled, accounts closed, ties severed. Each box I carried out of that apartment felt like freedom. I wasn't just leaving her behind. I was leaving behind the version of myself that had allowed her to walk over me. When the door finally shut behind me, I felt lighter, not broken, not angry, free. The strongest revenge isn't rage, it isn't violence. It isn't shouting until your throat is raw. It's exposing arrogance with truth. She thought she could humiliate me and walk away unscathed. Instead, she exposed herself to everyone who mattered. I lost someone who never valued me. But in return, I gained something much greater. I gained myself back, with dignity, with quiet strength, with peace. And that was the sweetest closure of all.